Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women. Blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and the hour of death. Amen. Hear our prayers. We are all your children. Even though we have free will, don't leave us alone with Satan. I implore you, help us out here. Good morning, gang. Hey, gang. Well, you can always go back and look at it on YouTube. That's the beauty of this, you know. Even if you're not there live, you're still, it's Memorex, it's still there. It still has its effect. It's still working on you. And it was a little fun trip. We, went to one of my great teachers' lodge. And it's waiting right in your lodge, in the house of the Oracle of Delphi. Our house. Yep. They're all over the place. There's a really good book, about by this guy who worked in the U.S. Air Force. And, they do more tunneling than anybody. And when people go, oh, they can't do that. Well, they built the tunnel, didn't they? That's 28 miles underground. It goes from Calais to England. So pretty much technologically, anything can be done. And again, I suggest that you go Google mud flood and what's that guy's name? The Mandela effect. That's right, Jane. I like that. I'm going to use that, Jane, in my tag. One of the characters I've always patterned myself as was the Doctor of Doctor Who. Because there was when I was, an alternative healer in New York City in 76 ish, people call me the Doctor, and Doctor Who hadn't quite hit the United States yet. And when I was out in Long Island, in what was the name of that place? Near East Hampton, and I was involved in the Stop Shoreham campaign, and I kept strolling into, Brookhaven National Laboratories. I mean, just I would show up and, how'd you get in here? Who are you anyway? And I'd say, I'm the doctor. And that's after I had lived in Australia and had my first dose of Doctor Who. So, if I ever represent, it's as Doctor Who. But, like, I don't have a tar list except for my, Akashic record. That's my tar list, my lodge. Anyway, I'm just waking up here. It's pushing towards 10 a.m. and it's still friggin' ice station zebra. I haven't gotten off this hill in 2 weeks. Yeah, but I have to have my eyes operated on tomorrow. And hopefully it will rain tonight and be in the 40s, and that nasty ice will somewhat diminish so I can get down the hill. Anyway. Boo, 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 boo. 89. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. I don't know which doctor. I like all of them, and I feel like all of them, depending on what day I am. Especially the first one, that curmudgeonly old god. But I'm not as. That guy had an ego. They all had an ego. I'm trying to work on just having an egoless ego. Uh, so we'll shock troops of love's co-creation that was with us last night. What did you think of the event? Well, if you went back and watched it on replay, which is just as good, you may, not text anything, but experience experience the burn. Da, 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 da. Ego is fear based. That's 100%. And if we fear, if there is no fear, if we don't fear it, and we don't give up, we can accomplish anything. And if we are in a cadre and we don't fear it and we don't give up, we can do anything. So say we all. Dun, 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 dun. I'm dancing with you guys. Do 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 da 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 da. When I rule the world. Do 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 do. I didn't do it alone. When I die, I will not be without friends. Do 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 do. Oh, there's 5 of you. Hi, gang. So I'm still waking up. So my brain, I haven't had my first cup of Java. Haven't eaten anything. So haven't taken my vitamins. I just wanted to jump in here and see what you guys want to talk about tonight. Yeah, that was a great book, Jane. And it's a is it on YouTube? Watching the autobiography of a yogi. Dispensary. Ink, you're gonna have to spunk my memory because I'm just waking up here. Yes, I haven't done that either. And I usually squirt some lemon in there so it's not acidic. It's yeah, good book. Autobiography of a yogi. just like these dreamy dreamlands. Just 10% is factual, but the other 90% actually happened. And again, I want to say, anyone who's watching, all of this is for entertainment's sake. Don't believe anything I say, because I don't. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, thanks, Ink. Yep. Again, Ink, I liked that. I liked what he had to say. I liked that video. I liked that TV show, London, whatever it is. Again, it's just more the same. It's kind of like when I first heard that song about the Aquarian age, it's the age of Aquarius. I really liked it. I was, I don't know, 19, 20, 17, somewhere in there. And I was an Aquarian. I was really getting into what Aquarians were. Okay, this is what I am. But it's all so packaged nicely, like a, you know, like something Amazon would give us. And that's a little part of, the problem with my new age friends is that, oh, they think they're so freaking right. That this is what it is. Everybody else is wrong. I mean, doesn't that sound a lot like religions? And so, but I like what he has to say, and pretty much my nitpicking or just that, I mean, I always get a little kerfuffled when people start talking about our minds being the center of everything. No, sorry, our mind, this thing on top of our head, this little, you know, 2 pound piece of purple gray stuff is just a Rolodex. The thing that's more connected to our consciousness and our free will is our gut. That's why we should be eating the right stuff, which I often don't do. I was so religious about what I ate between the ages of 20 and 32. And it worked out pretty good. That's why I'm probably still here. But then I started, being the dude. By the way, out of 2 nights ago, just as you were going to speak about hybrid member. Mm-hmm. Those parasites happy, that's right. Gotta keep them happy. But, fuck them. When I ruled the world, da 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 da. Yeah, it's something when you get a song stuck in your head. I often go to, I said earlier, Doctor Who is the person I tried to copy my character here on YouTube on. So I kind of get my juices rolling by I have someone did a nice job of doing a montage of Doctor Who images to interesting songs. So I play them. They're at the top of you go up to what I've been watching, my history. They usually appear up at the front because I kind of stroll back to where they were last and watch them again. So anyway. Da, 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 da. So, Inc., I'm going to go back there and look at Dr. J's video again and see what I can pick out the best parts of, right? Not the finicky, picayune parts, but the best parts. Parts that we can so say we all, and I will kind of try to lay that down as a foundation and find a story about it. So, thanks, Inc., for giving me a little nudge on what I'm going to think about today and speak about tonight. I'd also talk about the parasites. I know it's much what I do. I said, I liked it, It's just my picayune, old curmudgeon self, which is only syntaxed and you know. So I'm gonna watch it a few more times. Exactly, And so I will go back into that. See, I don't just castigate things and say they're terrible, except for the concept of religious belief. Chinese scientists who created the first. Yep. Sorry, it's not the first genetically engineered baby. The Nazis did it back in the 30s. Go do some homework on Dr. Mengele. And, the other thing I might talk about, since we're only into it 16. Okay, you gave me 89, you gave me something to talk about this morning. So, I've told this story before, but it's been way back, and probably you guys either forgotten it or didn't hear it. And that is, I went to Brazil in 88. My twin flame left my side. And if you want to know about that instance, I won't go on about it because it makes me cry. But one of the better things I wrote in the novel that I have on xratted.blogspot is that whole scenario. So it was hard for me to live in New York City because everything I saw reminded me of her, and because New York City was our city, and when we ruled the world, we walked through it like we owned it, And that's what you need to, that's what my grandma always said. When you enter a room, own it, right? Live like a millionaire, but don't be one. Don't work like one. And that's what we did together. And we did it together, okay, I won't go there and start crying. Anyway, so after that, I tried to do everything I could to, take a new leaf, go in a new direction. And one of them was I finished up everything I ever did in New York City, right? I doubled down on everything so I could leave and not have to come back to New York City, which I did. And I left in 89-ish. And I didn't come back until 2011, and that whole time. And that was and when I came back in 2011, it was pretty amazing. I went to the Lower East Side where I was the dude, and people were popping their, Al's back! People came out on the street and hugged me. And the Lower East Side was different. When I was there, it was Alphabet City, and it was just, burning and drugs, and we changed it. We took over 50 buildings and put 500 homeless families, not people, families, in their own apartment, and did it so they could keep it. And we started all kinds of things. We doubled down on gardening in New York City, and today, because of that, New York City school has all the kids gardening in their schools, and they bring those vegetables into the lunchroom. And we started one of the first women's shelters in New York City. Up until then, women weren't supposed to, be in that. Men should take care of them. Anyway, so I doubled down on everything, and then I left. And one of the things that got me to leave was I'm sitting in my, my abandoned loft on 13th Street that I shared with David Boyle. And David was, he was the godfather. I was the dude, he was the godfather, right? The Irish Godfather, if you ever see a gangster movie. And he ran this thing called Ethical Enterprises, which he tried to be pretty ethical, even though he was the godfather. And he always, one of the nicest things David says is, Al made me an electrician. That's what after I left, he took up that mantle. So I get this phone call. Ring, ring. I'm in it, in the place by myself. And everything in that place pretty much came off the street. And we had this great kind of lazy boy recliner thing that it broke. It was like something out of a 1950s space movie. It was like the couch that the astronaut would be in. And I built a plywood box and stuck it on it, and didn't even attach it, just stuck it on there, and it was great. And it was just at the right angle, and we put the TV up on the ceiling so no one could steal it. And we had to hide the remote control in the freezer to save the batteries. Anyway, the phone rings, and it was right, it's one of those first push button phones. Yellow, it was the yellow phone, big long cord. You could like be anywhere in, it's like 9 mile long cord from the phone that was attached to the wall to the receiver that you'd talk to. Anyway, so phone rings, and this voice with a kind of accent, French, something kind of European accent, but stranger, goes, "Is this Arrow, the creator of Xenons, the disco?" It's like, something you would see on a movie trailer. I go, "Well, who's calling?" And he goes, "I am calling from Brazil. Do you know I'm Michael Keane?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah. He owes me money." He goes, "Well, we have him in an undisclosed place, and we will kill him unless you come to Brazil and build us a disco." And I said, "Okay, fuck you, Claire." And the phone, "No, no, no, we do have him. We're not kidding around." I said, "He owes me $500. Go ahead and kill him." Click. No, we're going to torture him first. Great, great. A lot of people will be cheering. Click. "We'll send you an airplane ticket, $500, and pay you whatever you want." I said, "Well, now you're talking." I said, "Where is this place in Brazil you want me to build?" And he says, "Buzios. It's 200 miles north of Rio, right on the coast, a little peninsula. It's beautiful. It's where all the the it people go." I said, "Oh, I may not come just for that." He goes, "No, no, no, you'll love it." And I said, "Well, don't kill Michael. I'll be there." And so he goes, "Well, go to, whatever Brazil's airline was, and there'll be a ticket waiting at the desk. Just tell them the name, and here's the number of the ticket, and you know we'll see you then." So went down to the airport that day. Went to the desk of the airline. Gave him my name, showed my driver's license, gave him the number. They handed me the ticket. It was first class, very nice. And I went in there, and it was a 747 jumbo jet, and I was kind of in that front section with the stairs going upstairs to the bar, and I everyone had they were really big seats, and everyone had seats, and they were stuffed with microwaves and VCRs. Right, everyone had like them stuffed to the ceiling, and so if that plane ever crashed, everyone would have a VCR up their butt. So anyway, we fly the 16 or so hours. That was, I had a comfortable seat, kind of reclined back more than most. And I could stroll around first class, and the food was quite nice, lots of meat and booze. And so, it wasn't so bad. But I had learned, if you're going to go someplace and you're going to stay a while, really take nothing with you, except for those things you really need. At that time, really didn't need anything. So, I just had a little bag of a few things, very little bag. And because you can always get whatever you need wherever you are, and you can always get much better stuff because it's fit for where you are. Instead of the one story that enumerates this thing, when my father left the Air Force and became a salesman, and he was a triple Virgo, so he was always going to succeed. And so he joined this company and sold paper and all kinds of cleaning stuff door to door, and he did amazing. He became, like, in a year or so, he became their number one salesman. So he got a gold star, and he got to go to the corporate house in Florida, Pompano Beach, and it was right on the beach. It was beautiful, and it was on the beach and on the inlet, so you could have a boat. They had a boat, and so we were going down there for Easter holiday, and my mother packed enough clothes for a year, you know, and it was all like wool, and there was no summer clothes because it was February or whatever, whenever Easter rolls around, and my dad, the cheap guy that he is, rents a Ford Comet, a compact car. Six kids, my parents, and enough luggage, like four big suitcases for each of us. And we get there, and in Miami Beach, where we landed from New York, and we were in the back seat. They had turned off the air. Everyone was sneezing, and of course, I get sick. And but don't get sick right away. And so we land at the airport. He gets the car. My father is I have this packing gene from him. He fits all those freaking bags and us into the vehicle, and it takes him, an hour to pack that car. And it's 70 degrees, and he's wearing a wool suit. And so he puts, he's like doing this. He's got the keys to the car in the pocket of his wool jacket. It's 70 degrees. When he's finished, he folds his jacket up neatly and closes the keys of the car into the trunk. And we were locked out of the car. We couldn't go anywhere. And there's us going, well, let's get out of here. Till, what, holiday's over in 3 days. So, come back Thursday. And my father is livid. And he goes, there's got to be a way back. He says, well, there is. There's this little, you take the back seat out of the car, and there's a hole you can get in the back trunk. So my father, and this guy pull all the stuff out of the back seat of the car, which we were all sitting on top of. And he pulls out the seat, and he forces me to crawl through, the little peanut kid, through there. And I get his coat and pull it out and grab the keys, and off we go. Do I get a, no. It's like, doesn't even say good or thank you. She's so, that he just takes off. And he's screaming all the way there. So that was my lesson of never travel with anything unless you need it, period. Right? Unless you're driving the car that you're living in. And my car has everything. I live in my car if I'm not someplace like this. So, land in Brazil. I'm going through customs, and everyone is speaking Portuguese, period. No one's English. When I say, do you speak Portuguese? So I get to the guy, and he looks at me, and everyone in front of me has, these big carts with 20, 30, 40 microwaves and VCRs, right? And that you go through customs, and there's this guy with a little desk and a button, and a like stop and go light, red or green, right? So he goes up, says something in Portuguese, which I assume you got anything to declare. They hand him a microwave or VCR, and he hits the button, and it's green, and they march through, and they don't pay any customs, right? And this guy's getting a bigger pile of VCRs and microwave ovens, which he will go sell in his little favela, right? So it comes to me, I have nothing. I have no cart. I have no stack of, just have a little bag. I kind of put it on his thing, open it up. He looks in, he looks at me, and I hand him my passport. He looks at my passport, he looks at me, and he hits the red button. Everyone else illegally enters the country of Brazil by bribing the official. I, who have nothing to bribe the official with, get pulled over and put in a small little room. And guys come in and start screaming at me in Portuguese. And they come in, 3 or 4 guys come in. One has the machine gun. The other guys are like screaming at me in Portuguese. And I kind of go, yeah, whatever. And I just sit there, right? So, after about 30, 40 minutes, this guy in a suit comes in and goes, Al? And I said, yep. And he goes, I am, and he was the voice on the phone. A really tall guy, nice suit, and everyone is like bowing, scraping to this guy, and apologizing in Portuguese, like, "Oh, we didn't know, we're sorry, please don't kill us." Anyway, so we get in, we go out, and I don't go, no one stamps my passport, and I go, shouldn't I get a stamp? He goes, you are with me. Everyone knows me. I said, good. I'm glad I'm with you, and everyone knows you. So we go out, and this is Stretch Limo, right? I come from New York City. I have a godfather, Mike Stahl, and also another godfather called Mike Pinelli, who's It's like the godfather of the Lower East Side and Little Italy, and you name it, he was it. He was in charge of all carding and restaurant, you know, tablecloths and napkins, and you can't believe how much money you can make in those things. Anyway, and booze. He was in charge of booze, and from 34th Street down to the Battery. So, I knew what a Godfather was, and I knew what kind of car. This guy had a stretch Lincoln limo. You could, before they had stretch limos, and it was like a tank. It rode low and heavy. I mean, everything about you could have hit this with an RPG, and it would keep going. And the windows were like tinted so dark. It's kind of it gave you the illusion of Lucifer's light. I mean, you could kind of see out there, but it was like, and the sun in Brazil is brighter than bright. So anyway, we get in there, and this guy sitting in the front, and as we walked up, he because his windows weren't darkened, they were tinted but not darkened. And as we walked up, this guy was sitting there, and he had a chauffeur's cap, and he had a chauffeur's jacket, and a white shirt, and a black tie, and really dark sunglasses, like really he can like welder's glasses. Anyway, so the we're walking up to the vehicle, and this guy gets out, and when he opens the door, he gets out. He puts a foot out, and it's barefoot, and from his feet to his midriff, he is wearing nothing but a kind of scraggly, beat up, tore up, dirty pair of shorts. No shoes, right? Just the shorts. And his white shirt is neatly tucked into that. So when you look at him from the window, he looks like a chauffeur. But when he's out there, he's like, whoa, what is this? And he walks over and he opens the door for us. And this limo only has one door. On the passenger side, you get in. And it's got this like piano couch in there and a bar, right? And a little fridge and a little microwave. It's like, Anyway, so we get in there. He goes, "Are you hungry?" And I said, "Yeah, I haven't really eaten. I had a pretty good meal on that airplane. Thanks for the first class. That was quite nice." "Oh, that's how you should go. You are Al, the creator of Xenons, the disco." Now, I didn't create it. I just made it work, right? And but I did get a lot of creds for that place. And so, we are zipping through Rio from the airport, and the guy is like, this thing is like hovercraft. It's just floating, and traffic is getting out of this guy's way. He's going through red lights. He's just flying, just missing getting run over by big trucks. It's just, and we just fly through traffic, get on this road. That is a mountainous road, up and down, going along the coast. Beautiful, beautiful view. And we're heading towards Bucios. And this guy is doing 90 the whole way, right? And he's flying up the hill going up. And if there's a truck in front of him, he's just like in the other lane going, and we did this at least 7 times conservatively. And we'd get at the top, and there'd be another truck. He's just passing the truck on his right, and there'd be coming another truck right at it, and everybody, except for our driver, would be like, "Ah!" And he would zip between the two trucks with that much space on either side. And the guy's like, got, his little desk out, and he's doing paperwork, and, I'm like stuffing these little pasty pies with beef and vegetables, and they're really yummy. I just keep throwing them in the microwave and chopping them. And he's got a bottle of champagne down there, and I'm like drinking a champagne out of the bottle. I have my bottle, he has his bottle, and we're flying. And he goes, "Have you ever had a capa coprina?" And I go, "What's that?" And he goes, "Well, we have this liquor in Brazil called cachaças, made from the sugar cane, and it is like 10,000. It's like psychotropic, right? And here, let me make you one." And so what it is crushed ice. So he takes out in the freezer a ice bucket, but it has crushed ices, and he kind of crushes a little more, scoops a glass in there, and then pours this kind of syrupy liquid over the ice, and these has a like mint leaf, and he sticks a couple of those in there and hands it to me. And his thing was amazing. Just you could best tasting, licoricey, sweet. Had that peppermint leaf in it. It was like a whatever they drink down there in the South. It was like really yummy. So I drink one, and it's like my brain kind of goes, ooh, because I already drank a bottle of champagne, and my brain, ooh, and everything's flying by, and I'm not really. And again, we zip past two trucks, between two trucks on either side, and I go, how does that guy do this? And he goes, he kind of looks up from his paperwork and goes, he's blind. I said, what? He goes, he doesn't see anything, so he has to use his empathy and his energetics, and he goes on like Madame Blavatsky about seeing without eyes. And I'm going, ooh. Now, I've only been in Brazil for about 7 hours, and it's like, oh, Lord. So, I, yep. So am going, ooh, and so we pull into Buzios, and we're on this road that's up and down and up and down, and it's just pencil. That's about 90 miles out into the Atlantic, and we as we up at the top, we're looking down, and it's just beautiful from up, there, in my woo kind of state of mind. I go, boy, that's really pretty. He goes, yeah, that's Buzios. It's the playground of the rich and famous and powerful. It's like Oz. So we kind of cruise in, and we come off the main road, and it's still paved, but now it's kind of cobbly stone, not just the blacktop. And we kind of cruise in, and then we kind of come around, and it's like a fishing village over here, and kind of a farming neck of the woods over here, and we kind of go around, and then we come down this hill into the main drag of Buzios, and it's a big sweeping. It comes in and it goes all the way around the beach for about 30 miles, and it's beautiful. And there's houses and the town's there, and it's like super touristy. And there's people on the beach in these kind of rattan cloth chairs from the 30s and umbrellas, and guys like the guy who's driving the car with trays and little favels and drinks, coppa caprinas, and bringing them to everybody. And that's how. And those guys, it wasn't like the country club. That's how those people make their living. They stake out a part of the beach that their slave owner owns, and they you know have a little stand, and they bring yummies and drinks to the rich, powerful on the beach. And the women are like topless, and some are even bottomless, and everyone's walking around. It's the freest free place you could ever think. And there are all of these restaurants and nightclubs sprinkled all across this cobblestone avenue. And on the other is this beautiful sidewalk with big palm trees and the beach going down again, about 30, 40 meters, and there's the water. And it's this azure blue, just. And I'm like going, whoa, this is amazing. So we kind of cruise through all that, and everyone gets out of the way of this limo, because if they didn't, they'd get run over. And but that's he's rich and powerful. So we kind of go around that whole thing, and then we go up this hill where there's these big mansions, right? And we're going through this neighborhood, and down kind of between this hill and where all these mansions are, there is like this facility, you know, and God knows what that facility is, but it's a facility. And I'm gonna plug my little battery in. I should have done this to begin with. Still there? Still there? Can you hear me now? Am I part of the show?